Yep.
Hi, everyone. Um, I'm here with Steven, one of my students, and I'm going to ask him a bunch of questions about the program and about his experience. So, um, if you're ready, Steven, I
I'm
will
ready.
ask you the first question.
Okay.
So, how were you practicing before joining the program? And more generally, what other ear training methods have you tried out in the past?
Okay. Um, in the past, I attempted to practice using more traditional methods of like working on intervals very directly, just memorize a minor third, memorize a major third, and just listen to them in different keys and try to instantly recognizing them. And that process to me was very frustrating because first I couldn't really see a real application into music very quickly. It felt like a very long process, and after that long process, maybe I would see results or benefits. And so that to me was very frustrating, and it was very. I just didn't feel motivated. Um, so I would very quickly abandon my ear training. So I would try
Okay.
to start studying, start do my ear training for 1 month, and after a month, I just felt annoyed and bored and frustrated. So I would
Okay.
stop, and
Yeah,
that was my experience until then.
and that's a very common issue. It happened also with for me.
Mhm.
And but let's talk about. I mean, what were the main issues you were facing when we started working together?
I feel like, how do I say this? I was finding that I had spent my entire life approaching music from the perspective of just moving my hands on the instrument, you know?
Yeah.
It was like the music happened outside of me.
Yeah.
And that to me was I very quickly realized that all of the musicians that I admired, the music is happening in their minds before it happens on the instrument. And I had the question of, why can't I do that? Is it a problem with me? Is it a problem with my approach? Why can't I do that was my question. Why is it that I listen to a piece of music and I don't understand what's happening, and I have to sit down for hours on my instrument to figure out a chord progression that is just 1 4 5 1? That was a very frustrating experience for me, and that's what I wanted to fix. That's what I wanted to fix.
Yes. And so, do you remember if there was a missing point in your approach that was causing those issues?
So at this point,
Yeah.
after having after having spent these last weeks working with you, I have realized that what needed to happen was for me to make my ear training musical, really. Um, it was context. It was working in the context of music and realizing that the understanding of music is just as much emotional as it is
Yeah.
rational.
Yeah. It's both
And
sides.
and classical ear training focuses very intensely on the rational side.
Yeah.
And I am very naturally an emotional person. So as soon as I allowed myself to perceive things like tension and resolution in the context of a key, I immediately realized I'm very good at this. I could be good at this.
Yeah.
I just didn't have the right approach because I was eliminating the emotional side of the process in favor of the rational side of the process. And the rational side of the process was just causing frustration and
Yeah,
boredom.
exactly. And so, going a little bit more in depth
Uh-huh.
in your personal situation when you started practicing with this approach, um, there is there a specific issue that was um, blocking you more than anything else?
Um, I guess if I had to point out a reason why I wasn't making progress, I feel like the issue was not, right now anyway, I feel like the issues were not in me. They were in the method that I was trying to apply in the past. Because I think we talked about this in the first 2 weeks, and it was like I already had a skill set,
Yeah,
but I had not unlocked it.
yeah, and it's weird because people usually laugh at me when I say unlock relative pitch. But
Yeah,
it's
it it sounds silly, yes.
in some cases it is like that.
Hmm.
It happens like that, and literally. And in your case, I think it happened.
That's exactly what happened, for sure. And I agree that it sounds silly because it sounds like unlock your
Yeah,
relative pitch.
yeah,
It sounds like a marketing language, you
yeah,
know?
yeah, sure.
But in this case, I think it's very true.
Yeah, how,
There's no other way to describe
yeah.
it. Yeah, yeah.
So, um, so do you think you would have been able to overcome those issues? Let's call them issues in a
Mhm.
similar amount of time, even without the help of this methodology?
I think I couldn't. Um, because
Why?
this is the because because I think other let's see, how do I say this? The classical methodologies of ear training, it was already clear to me that that was not going to work for me. Um, and so for me to expect to for these skills to appear in me spontaneously was unrealistic. I've been involved in music one way or another since I was about 12 years old. Okay. And if those skills have not spontaneously manifested by now, it means that they're not going to, unless I find the right way to develop them. Because none of my teachers, when I studied piano, when I studied guitar, even when I went to singing, none of my teachers put me through exercises or explained to me the things that I have learned with you.
Oh,
So
that's great.
I feel it wouldn't have happened.
Oh, that's awesome. I mean, that's very good from you. That's very. I thank you for the
And
compliment.
you're welcome.
So, um, and why do you think this methodology and the teaching approach that I adopt has been so helpful to you, and I mean more helpful than other approaches that you've tried in the past?
Okay. Um, I talked about this with my girlfriend a few days ago because this experience, as it has been happening to me, I've been sharing it with her because, well, she lives with me.
Yeah.
And so sometimes I listen to a piece of music and I instantly understand it. And so I pick up my guitar and I show her, look what just happened to me. Listen to this song. I just heard it right now for the first time. I stop the song and I can tell you what the harmony's doing. I can play along with it and I can sing it to you. This is crazy. And I think that what the difference is that this method is musical. That's the way I describe it to her. It's a musical way of learning music. You know,
That's
who
a
would
very good explanation.
who would ever think to do that? It's so
Yeah,
it should be obvious, and I don't understand why it isn't. Um, but that's the way I describe it. It's very musical. Um, that's my first description of it. And my second point is, as I mentioned earlier, that it is making use of a tool that I already had, which was my emotional sensibility.
yeah,
And instead of focusing so much on the rational side of it, and once I realized that I could use those subjective sensations, and connect them to my rational thinking process of music, then everything became easier and everything became more musical.
yeah, because suddenly you were guided mostly by the emotional and side and the
Yes,
sensations, and
yes,
the rational thinking was only a little part of the process. It's
yes,
we need it, but it's not the first thing. It's not the big
yes,
thing. It's secondary,
yes.
right?
It's like the rational side is like a system of numbers and symbols that we
Yeah,
use to decode what's happening on the emotional side.
yeah, that's a perfect explanation. Yeah,
That's
exactly.
the way that I understand what's happening in my brain right now. Yes.
Exactly. And lastly, can you talk a little bit about um, what are you able to do that you weren't able to do before starting this program?
Okay, sure. Just this week, we were talking about this earlier. Just this week, um, I went on Spotify. Since we've been working mostly on the major key as the first part of the process, and working on melodic dictation and chord recognition, I went on Spotify and I looked for a playlist of songs in major keys, and I just started to let it play as I was traveling to the city.
Yeah.
And I realized that my brain was very quickly, just spontaneously recognizing what was happening in the harmony. And so I whenever the tonic chord plays, I I instantly knew that's it, that's the one. And then as soon as we go to the five, I can feel it. I could feel the chords, and I felt confident that I know what it is. I felt like that's it. I'm not confused. I'm not
Yeah.
wondering what it is. I can pull out a keyboard on my phone and I can check and confirm that I'm right. And to me, this week has been very surprising, and it's been very gratifying because I've begun to see benefits in real music, which this is what I'm here for.
Yeah. It's
I
our
couldn't ask
final
for
goal.
more. Yes.
Yeah. So basically, you were able to recognize harmonies even without the rational process, even
Exactly.
without your rational
Exactly.
side going.
It happens spontaneously, and there was no thinking involved. There was no process of me singing the scale in my head looking for, is this the five? No, it just bang immediately. That's the five.
Okay, that's awesome. And I thank you for this interview. And
You're
anyway,
very welcome.
I hope you to go on with this method and improve even more. Okay.
That is the plan, and I feel very fortunate. I'm very confident that I'm on the right path, and I'm seeing benefits. Like this is I'm very grateful to you, honestly.
Okay. Thank you very much. I appreciate it a lot. Thank you.
Thank you.